37 wins, 33 knockouts, 0 losses. The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
I'm the best ever. There's no one that can match me. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever.
By 1990, Mike Tyson was an outcome. He'd never tasted defeat, never imagined it. February 11th, Tokyo. His opponent, James "Buster" Douglas. 29 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. Most Japanese reporters didn't even know his name. The odds were 42-1. The fight was supposed to be a formality. What it became was the biggest upset in boxing history. And the night Mike Tyson met something he couldn't punch away. His worst nightmare.
By early 1990, Mike Tyson had fought 37 times and won them all. 33 opponents didn't hear the final bell. He held the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles, making him the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson became the youngest heavyweight title holder in history when he stopped Trevor Berbick in 1986 at age 20. Less than a year later, he unified the belts, a feat few had managed in the modern era. His fighting style was built for destruction. Under Customato's peekaboo system, Tyson moved fast, stayed low, and threw explosive combinations. Most fights didn't last long. He knocked out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds. He stopped Larry Holmes, a former champion, in 4 rounds. Fighters like Marvis Frazier, Frank Bruno, and Carl Williams all folded in under 5. By 1989, Tyson was earning over $20 million per fight. His name guaranteed sellouts, pay-per-view records, and global media coverage. He had become a crossover star, appearing in Nintendo games, commercials, and celebrity events, without ever losing focus in the ring. Commentators described him as the most feared fighter since Sonny Liston. Opponents often looked beaten before the first round began. There were no wars, no close decisions, no adversity. Just knockouts, predictable, violent, and fast. But underneath the dominance, something had shifted. Tyson had cut ties with trainer Kevin Rooney. He was drifting from the discipline that built him. He had never gone into deep water, never fought someone he truly underestimated, and paid for it. That test came next. By 1989, the warning signs were starting to show, not in the ring, but outside of it. Tyson's discipline, once his greatest weapon, had begun to erode. He was training less, partying more, and surrounding himself with people who rarely said no. His lifestyle had shifted. The press speculated on late nights, multiple women, and a growing taste for excess. Tyson later admitted in his autobiography that he had gained 30 pounds in the lead-up to Tokyo, and only started cutting weight once he arrived in Japan. In November of that year, he was scheduled to face hard-hitting contender Donovan "Razor" Ruddock, but the fight was suddenly canceled. The official reason was a rib injury, costochondritis. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about poor conditioning, missed training sessions, and the inability to focus. Enter Don King. With the Ruddock fight shelved, King saw an opportunity in Japan. A fight abroad meant a massive payday, minimal media interference, and fewer questions. Tyson agreed, but he wasn't ready. Not mentally, and certainly not physically. Tyson didn't study tape. He barely sparred. In his own words, "I didn't want to fight. I wanted girls and parties." He came into camp nearly 30 pounds heavier than usual. By fight night, he weighed in at 220.5, right around his typical number. But the problem wasn't the scale. It was how he got there. The cut was rushed. He spent days eating little, drinking broth, and sweating off the excess. His conditioning never caught up. Meanwhile, Buster Douglas was training like it was the last fight of his life. Tyson had arrived in Tokyo as a global superstar. But under the lights, behind the cameras, he was underprepared, overconfident, and distracted. He wasn't ready, and it was too late to fix it. While Tyson arrived in Tokyo unfocused and underprepared, Buster Douglas was living through something far more personal and far heavier. Just 3 weeks before the fight, Buster's mother, Lula Pearl Douglas, died suddenly from a stroke. She had been one of his closest supporters, the person who believed in him when few others did. He almost pulled out, but instead, he doubled down. He got sick in the final week, a mild flu or head cold, depending on the version you hear. His wife had been dealing with serious kidney issues. The media ignored it all. Because most weren't watching, in the eyes of the public, he was a stay-busy opponent, a placeholder, the man across the ring from Tyson. But Douglas didn't see himself that way. He trained harder than ever, ran longer, sparred through exhaustion. He came to Tokyo with a clear plan and a reason to carry it out. Privately, he said he was going to shock the world. Publicly, no one listened. In a sport obsessed with confidence, few noticed that his was real. And by the time he stepped into the ring, he had already made peace with something deeper. It was about living up to a promise, to a mother who wasn't there to see it. The opening round didn't follow the script. Tyson came forward, looking to end things early, but Douglas kept him at bay with a firm jab and quick feet. He wasn't overwhelmed. He was in control from the start. By the third, Tyson's left eye began to swell. Douglas kept hitting it. Jabs, short rights, combinations thrown with purpose. Tyson looked surprised, not hurt, but confused. In rounds 5 and 6, the rhythm was clear. Douglas was landing more. Tyson was throwing single shots, relying on power. But his timing was off, and his head movement, once the sharpest in boxing, was gone. By round 7, the aura had cracked. Tyson was breathing through his mouth, his eye nearly shut. His corner scrambled between rounds, pressing a latex glove filled with ice water to the swelling, a desperate improvisation in place of a proper end swell. Then came round 8. For a moment, Tyson found what he'd been looking for, a short, savage uppercut on the inside. Douglas collapsed to the canvas. The crowd roared. The world thought it was over. Douglas stayed down, motionless for a few seconds. Then he began to rise. He beat the count, officially at 8. But Tyson's team believed otherwise. The referee's count had started late. The timekeeper had already begun his stopwatch before the ref started counting. Tyson's corner would later argue that Douglas had been down for 10 full seconds, but the ref let it continue. Douglas got to his feet. The bell rang. He returned to his corner, blood in his mouth, fire in his eyes. He had been down, but not finished. From that moment on, the fight no longer belonged to Tyson. The 10th began with Tyson already behind on the cards, but few believed the judges would matter. He still had power and time, but Douglas wasn't fading. His punches came sharper, faster. The jab landed clean. Tyson blinked through one eye. Then came the combination. A jab, a right hand, and a short uppercut that snapped Tyson's head back. The follow-up, 3 clean punches, sent him down for the first time in his career. Tyson hit the canvas, legs tangled, hands reaching. He looked for his mouthpiece on the mat, picked it up, and tried to force it back in with a dazed hand. Referee Octavio Mayran began the count. Tyson reached his feet at 9, but not fully. He leaned against the ref, unsteady. At the count of 10, Mayran waved it off. It took a few seconds for the shock to register. The crowd didn't cheer. Not at first. They were watching something no one had expected. Tyson walked to the corner, confused. He didn't know the fight was over. In his autobiography, he recalled chewing on his mouthpiece and asking his trainer what had happened. Aaron Snowell told him, "You got counted out, champ." At that moment, the myth ended, and a new champion stood in its place. Tyson didn't make excuses. Years later, he admitted the truth. He hadn't trained. He didn't respect Douglas. He thought the name alone would be enough. In his words, "I didn't think I could lose. I didn't train. I underestimated him. He deserved to win." Douglas won more than a title. He dismantled a myth, piece by piece. He proved that preparation beats power, that fear fades the moment someone stops accepting it. That night, everything flipped. The man no one feared was finally beaten. The one everyone overlooked refused to fall. Tyson didn't lose to a lucky punch. He lost to preparation, to belief, to a man who showed up ready for a war. That night, he faced something no opponent had ever forced him to see. The one thing power can't control, his worst nightmare.